All right, so Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans, they follow up the day one splash with addressing some needs. Let's break it down in the locker room before we get ready for day three and what's been a pretty decent body of work that Nick Caserio has put together recently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey.
Heading into yesterday, the Texans, they needed a center very badly, and they needed some wide receiver speed slash playmaking. They at least attempted to do both of those things, trading up for Juice Scruggs in the second round, pick 62. That trade was for the 65th, 188, and 230th pick. And every wide receiver Nick Caserio has drafted now has been traded up for. And we'll get to that in a second. But this was the center. They traded 65, 188, and 230. I'm always honest with my audience. I know there's a lot of people that will pretend to be center experts this time of the year. I don't have a clue. They seem to like him. They seem to think that he can play center. He's got a body of work at Penn State, and they liked him. And there were other centers available. There might be some people that liked those centers more. I'm not a center expert. I thought Nick Martin was going to be the center for this team for 10 years when they took him in the second round. So I'm always going to be honest with you. I have no idea. Hopefully they evaluated that correctly. And they've at the very least upgraded at that position, which should not be hard, especially in the second round, especially when you trade up for a guy at 62. So hopefully they address that need, but I'm not going to break down his zone blocking or anything like that because I got to be honest with you. Later on in the draft, they made another splash. They got up to the 69th pick, and they traded 73 and 151, and they got someone that has a lot of local TV guys very excited, Tank Dell out of U of H. Tank Dell is an explosive player. We're all obviously pretty familiar with him. Obviously, people are going to bring up his size. He's a smaller guy. The Bryce Young debate was fun while it lasted. And despite the fact you ended up with CJ Stroud, the size talk is still around. Look, you got your punt returner. You got a guy that, regardless of what you say about his size, he led the NCAA in receiving yards, and he was second in receptions, and he is fast, which is one of the weaknesses of this wide receiving core. This wide receiving core does not have a lot of speed. And as a matter of fact, it's probably one of the bottom on paper wide receiver cores in the entire league. They needed someone that had some speed. They get Tank Dell. He's going to help you in the third phase. I'm sure Frank Ross is happy about this. He's going to be your punt returner, hopefully for a long, long time. And hopefully Bobby Slowick is able to get him in space and use him effectively. I don't care if he needs to line up in the slot. I don't think, at this point, John Mechie should prevent you from stockpiling talent. Just get as many playmakers as you can. And the beauty of this whole thing is we don't know how good of a coach D'Amico Ryans is, and we don't know what type of offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick is. There could be some challenges with the size, but in this situation, Tank Dell, he gives you something that you need, playmaking and speed at the wide receiver position, and he gives you a potential game changer on special teams when it comes to punt returns. Kick returns, obviously not as much of a factor most times in the NFL because more times than not, it's going to be touchbacks. I know a lot of people may have wanted Jalen Hyatt in that situation. There's talks about a limited route tree with Jalen Hyatt, but Jalen Hyatt was a guy a lot of people considered. I was a Marvin Mims guy. Marvin Mims went the pick after Juice Scruggs. So you saw some of the wide receivers come off the board, and the Texans had a local guy, and the TV guys around town are going nuts. Remaining picks for the Texans today, we'll go live and react to the first two. Fourth round, they got 104 and 105. So right off the top, we'll see what Nick Caserio can do. Last year, on this day, he did get Dameon Pierce and he did get Tegan Quitteriano. So two guys who were pleasant surprises last year. So Nick has done some work in day 3. Today's going to be interesting. There's a lot of opportunity there. There's a lot of value in the draft. I'm not going to name specific names, but because before I know it, this video will be dated, but it's going to be fun. And I think the strategy heading into day 3 is very simple. Address as many positions as possible and just get the best player available. Don't draft for need in this situation. Just go ahead and get it done. Get CJ Stroud some help. Get some ballers on defense. There's a lot of opportunity here. And the best player arguably on the offense last year, Dameon Pierce, was selected on this day. So we'll see what happens. No matter what happens, though, we're all in this together. Going to be fun. Going to stream live, and we're going to keep this going. Good vibes around here, no matter how you feel about the picks. The size debate, we just couldn't get away from it. But no matter what happens, we're all in this together. Appreciate you.
Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the